Welcome to the Ranken Jordan Chaplain's Corner. Real talk, sacred space. This is a place for reflection, hope, and honest conversation, created for patients, families, staff, and anyone who finds themselves in the waiting rooms of life. Wherever you are, however you're feeling, you are not alone.
Welcome to the Chaplain's Corner from the spiritual care team at Ranken Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. This is a space where we take a moment to pause together for reflection, for encouragement, and connection as we care for children, as we care for caregivers, and the most amazing team in healthcare. This month, we're so excited. We're exploring one of the most widely observed Jewish holidays, Passover. We are joined by one of our colleagues from Volunteer Services, Nancy G., who will share what Passover means to her and how its themes might speak to those of us who work with patients and families and who are facing difficult journeys. So whether you're familiar with Passover or hearing about it for the first time, we hope this conversation offers a moment of reflection and encouragement for your own work of caring for others. So, Chaplain Kelly's here with me. I am Chaplain Jackie, and we want to welcome you, Nancy, and thank you for being with us today. We're so excited to hear what you have to say. To begin this conversation, would you share a little bit about Passover for those of us that might not be familiar with this holiday?
I sure will. Passover, it's an 8-day Jewish festival celebrating the biblical Exodus, where Israelites were free from slavery in Egypt with the leadership of a prophet that we hopefully most people know as Moses. This celebration lasts for 8 days. It's one of my favorite holidays. And during this time, the first 2 nights a, a we have what's called a Seder, and Seder means order in regards to it. And we read a book called the Haggadah. Haggadah means telling. So in this Haggadah is the story of Passover. It has prayers, it has songs, it has blessings, and what I love so much about it when we're at the Seder. So for the first night and the second night, we have the Seder, and everyone is around the table. Everyone has a book, and everyone participates in this telling of the story of Passover. And Passover, Seder means Passover, and what it symbolizes is that during that time when the Israelites were suffering, and God was trying to convince the Egyptians to let the Israelites free, he was protecting them. And so he passed over, as a Passover, he passed over some of the plagues that were put upon the Egyptians. So that's why we call it Passover. And so why I love this so much, it talks about freedom. And we talk about freedom back then, how the Israelites had to escape Egypt and become free. But we talk about the significance of what that means today for people who are suffering. And so we always want to make sure we talk about how it's relevant for today. But during the Seder, we eat certain foods. And one of the biggest things that a lot of foods to symbolize what was going on back then. And when the Israelites were told they can leave Egypt and get to freedom, they had to do it in a hurry because there was an army after them. I think the Egyptians changed their mind. And so they had to get out very quickly. And so they didn't have enough time to do a lot of get their food ready. So when they were baking their bread, they had to get it out of the oven before it could rise. So for those 8 days, we eat nothing that's leavened, nothing that had like yeast in it. And I even brought some samples. So one thing we have to eat is matzah, if you can see that in the picture.
Yeah.
Can you see it okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So we eat matzah, which is like it's like a cracker. It's a flat cracker. And so it doesn't, it's not, we can't eat bread. And if I do any baking, if I make brownies or cookies, whatever, I don't use regular flour. I use what's called matzah meal. Here's my matzah meal.
Hmm. Mhm.
And during the Seder, we have what's called the Seder plate. I brought a sample of that also. So here, this is a Seder plate. And can you see it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And with this Seder plate, there's different items I put in here. And so, like bitter herbs is horseradish. It talks about how bitter, how sad it was, how bitter it was to be a slave. The the harosis here is made out of like chopped apples with mixed with a little bit of wine or grape juice, and it talks about the like the cement that was used to the slaves had to do a lot of building and what they used in between the bricks so they would stick together. Um, the egg, parsley, and lettuce. The holiday is always around the springtime. So it reminds us of when we came from darkness to light. So that reminds us of spring. And the shank bone is a reminder of sacrifices that were made during that time. So we always have this at the middle of the table. I also have salt water. Salt water reminds us of the tears that were shed during that time, not only for the Israelites, but for the Egyptians. We're never happy when anyone has to suffer. So we always have salt water and we dip something in salt water to remind us of all the tears that were shed. And a
Mhm.
lot of these items that I have here were passed down from my grandmother, then to my mother. And then some, I'm the one who hosts all the Passovers right now. They're passed over to me.
Nice.
So I thought
Beautiful.
I'd just show you that. I apologize. I don't have a Haggadah with me. I just moved to a new home.
Oh.
And so I packed them real safely so I wouldn't lose them, and I even labeled it, and I can't find them. So when I find the Haggadahs, I will bring them into our Ranken Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital to give to you if you want to have them out anywhere for people to
Oh,
see.
wonderful. Thank you.
Yes,
That's
Mm.
fantastic.
but one thing I love, everyone participates. We make sure the children could understand, whatever ages, from toddlers to the older children to adults. Everyone can participate. We make sure everyone understands the meaning of this holiday.
That is just beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for that show and tell. Those are beautiful pieces. I can tell that they're family treasures.
Yeah.
I was wondering, Nancy, if you could tell us a little bit more about any connections that you find between the story of Passover and the experiences of patients and caregivers at Rankin Jordan.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the biggest word will be resilience
Mm.
and strength. And even when they don't know, when they're going through um, this time with their children, they keep moving forward. Like I said, we talked about going from darkness to light. They keep moving forward. They don't give up. They keep going. I think I wrote some things. They face that challenge with courage and strength with that support from everyone at Ranken Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. But Jeff, the biggest word is resilience. They are dealing with not only their child, I guess their children that are at Ranken Jordan, but they may have children or family members at home. They may be dealing with work. They're dealing with so much coming in at them. But I mean, I've been there now for 5 years and I just see their resilience. I see them keeping moving forward with hope, with their renewal of strength. And so they're blessings to me. And I hope I'm there for them as a volunteer to help guide them also.
Wonderful. So, Nancy, what message from Passover would you want the caregivers or hospital staff to carry with them this season?
I want them to carryover about everyone, like when we're at the Seder, the dinner, everyone has a role. Everyone participates. At Ranken Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital, everyone has a role. We all participate. There's no one just sitting back, I don't know what to do. Everyone knows what he or she needs to do for the best interests of our children, of our little patients. And by that participation, we're a community. We're a community where we're strong. We're guiding our patients, we're guiding our caregivers. But it takes a community, active participation, and supporting one another.
Mm.
And that's 100%. And at the Seder, there's always a leader who sort of keeps everyone in order. And that's our CEO, our Sean, keeps us all all in order. So we know we're all doing our part.
Mhm. I
Yes.
love that. I love that. Speaking of
Yes.
that, in communities, workplaces like our beloved hospital, how might we create spaces for people from different traditions to feel welcome and respected during their special holidays?
I think right now, because I volunteer so much there, I see that you always have out the prayer box, and everyone can put his or her prayer in that box. You always ask questions, whatever holiday is going on, may it be a Christian holiday, a Muslim holiday, a Hindu holiday, a Jewish holiday. You always have that information out for everybody. And I think you also have open discussion about that. In our community, we have so many different religious organizations. You may want to bring in some guest speakers. Could
Mm.
be a priest, a pastor, a rabbi, anyone to come in and maybe talk to some of our caregivers, even at the same time to discuss. I think we're more alike than different. I think we are caring. We have respect for one another, hopefully to learn and respect each other and realize we have so much more in common about we want the best. We want everyone to be free. We want everyone to have opportunities and without any hindrance, and we're there for each other.
Mm. Thanks, Nancy. Those are great ideas.
Yes. I just love the idea of resilience. I love when you said that. I think that it's spot on with, you know, what we see at the hospital with the families, the caregivers, the staff.
Yes.
I think that word really does sum up a lot of what we experience, what we see, even with the volunteers, like yourself. You said you've been there for 5 years. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, we really appreciate you and others like you, just for showing up, right?
Because
Um,
I think it's about compassion too. We have, and well, just the compassion, caring, hopefully to make a difference. Hopefully, it may just be through a smile, serving coffee at the perk, um, through eyes. There's so many different ways to volunteer, and just I think we're all. I feel like we're all holding hands. We're all in a link together, and it's the volunteers, the staff, the caregivers, our donors, people who help make all this happen. We're all in this. We all have I think our goals are all are the same.
Mm.
It's the best interest of our children to guide them to, oh my gosh, for healing, to get out there in this world and shine.
yeah, yes. You talked about the cedar too. Do you have a favorite part of the Passover cedar?
Um, I like the singing. We sing certain songs, and I know sometimes my mother, she's not with us anymore, loved the singing part. So I make sure we sing certain songs, and sometimes my sisters or someone will roll their eyes. I go, no, we're singing all the songs. So then the songs are about freedom and happiness and we may not all be in tune, but I love that part. I I love all of it really. I like the planning. It takes a lot of planning for me to get the table set, get all the different symbolisms that the matzah out. My grandmother made all her. She was a phenomenal cook. My grandmother Rose, and she taught me all her recipes. So I love making sure I have those recipes. She even made for matzo ball soup, which I love my matzo ball soup. She made homemade noodles with
Oh,
matzo meal where they're like crepes and you have to slice. Then once they're crepes, you slice them in these little slices to make noodles. So I love the preparation for the
Yeah,
Seder. And
Seder.
I
Yeah.
like us gathering together. I like that everyone participates.
Yeah.
And the children love it because we're supposed to be, there's a times we're supposed to be like slouching. We're supposed to slouch or get real or lay, put your head down because it shows that we're free. So you can just sort of be relaxed a little bit. So the children all get a kick out of that.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I also like, I'm trying to think I like when we say the prayers. We say a lot of different prayers. And a lot of my silly relatives would drink a lot of wine during that holiday. Now, I don't always have grape juice for the children, but they think it's really fun that we get to work. It's like every time, it's like every other page we're drinking, saying a prayer for wine, and
Hmm.
that's just for celebration. We're constantly celebrating.
I love this message of inclusivity, that everyone has a part, and resilience. Talk about two words that just really capture the spirit of Ranken Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital.
Absolutely, yes.
You've already been sharing about some of the family recipes and traditions, but I wanted you to think back to when you were the age of some of our patients at Rankin Jordan, right? When you were their age and you would have Seder. What are those memories? What sticks out? Do you have a funny or a touching story from your
Well,
childhood?
I do because all the grandparents and the aunts, everyone, they're all, they call it the old country. A lot of them are from Poland, some are from the Ukraine, and and so the Seder's, they're not just lasting for like an hour, they're lasting for hours and hours and hours. And I always wanted to sit by my grandpa because he was the one who would guide it. And most of it was done in Hebrew. We didn't read, very little was done in English, Hebrew or Yiddish, which is it's a language that combines German and a little bit of Polish. And they call it a ghetto language when the Jews were all in the ghettos in the old country. And I loved sitting next to my grandpa. And the youngest child is supposed to read what's called the four questions. The four questions at the Seder is like, why is this night different from all other nights? Why do we recline? Why do we not eat leavened bread? And my youngest sister was so shy, she just did not want to do it. So I was the next one. I loved doing the four questions. And I had to learn them in Hebrew. I did them in Hebrew, but I would practice and practice. So that's a wonderful memory. And then had to, be the one standing up saying the four questions. And then during the Haggadah, the reading would answer those questions. And my grandpa was so funny. He loved peanut butter. This is a funny. And he would love to put peanut butter on his matzah, and my grandma would get so upset with him because that's just disgusting. But I learned to love having peanut butter on my matzah. So that's just like it's a happy memory. It's because he would always have peanut butter at the Seder table, which was not tradition. That is not what we do. But he had his peanut butter there, so he could put peanut butter on his matzah. So that sitting next to my grandpa and then saying those four questions. That's a really cherished memory that I have of Passover as a little girl.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. Chaplain Kelly, do you have anything else you want to ask? This has been really rich.
Absolutely. And I'm so inspired by this story. I'm so touched, Nancy, with your willingness to be with us today and to share your memories. And what would be the way that we would wish one another a happy Passover? Is that the correct terminology?
Yes, well, you could say happy Passover, but another thing too, we think about freedom. I guess I want to say we Jewish people, we always think about charity, how we can help others. So we think about we're free, that story of freedom. Who's having a hard time now in this present day? And it's our obligation to be active participants and there's so many different ways to help. And that could be through volunteering, making phone calls, donations, donating food, clothes, writing letters to our congressmen, congresspeople, so many different ways. So that's a big, that was always stressed to us. How is this relevant for today? We say happy Passover. There's another thing we say, but pretty much it's just happy Passover.
Over.
Happy Passover.
Happy
Yes.
Passover.
Happy Passover to you and
Thank
your
you.
family, Nancy. And as we close today's conversation, we want to invite our listeners to take a moment for reflection. I wonder, what does the idea of a journey toward freedom mean in your own life right now? Where do you see resilience or hope in the patients, in the caregivers, and in the colleagues that we encounter each and every day at Ranken Jordan? And is there a story from your own life or religious tradition that reminds you why compassion and care matter? May this season be a reminder that even in difficult journeys, there can be moments of courage, community, and hope. Many thanks to our first guest, Nancy G.,
Oh.
and many thanks to you, our listeners. Until next time, take good care.
Thank you.